Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. I don't know why that's my intro, but I said it one day and it kind of stuck. We got a lot of news to cover today, from Agurin getting hospitalized to Riot Games actually listening to the community for once, and Koreans are pretty pissed at Dantes. Let's jump into the news. So we're going to kick it off by a tweet from an official writer himself saying that there has just been 25,000 bans placed on scripter-reported accounts. This comes from the Twitter of Riot Keo, who says, rolling out over 25,000 bans on accounts for prohibited scripting tools in @League of Legends. Please continue reporting any players you suspect are in violation of our third-party tools policies. Your reports, especially detailed ones, are essential to us. I know this isn't really prevalent to a lot of the community because it's only kind of seen in high elo, but I can assure you this is a massive problem. High elo is the training ground for upcoming talent and also professional players, and it's also under the eyes of a lot of content creators. So essentially what happens is a player has a fresh account and they pay between $20 to $150 depending on how good they want the script to be. That script will then run a program inside your computer to automatically dodge skill shots. It shows ranges, you can see the map without fog, it shows ability cooldowns, all this kind of stuff. I'll try and find some gameplay footage for you guys in the background of scripters so you have a visualization of what it actually looks like, but if you put someone who's even relatively mechanically proficient on a champion like Ezreal or Lucian with an enchanter support, they're basically unbeatable. So what will happen when these accounts get to a high enough elo, they'll sell it off from anywhere between $50 to $1,500 depending on what elo the account is, what the MMR is, what the win-loss is, what skins it has on the account. But at the end of the day, scripting's obviously against TOS, and it also ruins a competitive practice environment for pros and content creators who earn their livelihood off the game. I, for one, am really grateful that Riot's actually taking measured steps towards preventing scripting, but who knows where they're going to go from here. Moving on. So a few videos ago, I made a video on the splash arts that Riot was releasing for the Chromas on the Chinese server. A lot of you in the comments were asking kind of like whether we're going to see these in the Western servers, and I've actually been able to find an explanation from a user on Reddit who explains it really well. It reads, in China, the regular chromas they are doing for these are not available for purchase directly. They're in gacha, likely the same for the event chromas like these. So China makes these new splashes to incentivize buying gacha for them. And I actually kind of like this system from Riot China. I kind of wish they had it in the Western server so we could spend our blue essence on it or something like that, because I have like hundreds of thousands, but moving on. Now, this isn't really news, but I was having a scroll on TikTok the other day when I was procrastinating my responsibilities like any other adult does, and I found these really cool 3D renders someone had made through an AI program of all of the items. I've already started playing the pictures up next to me, if this is the right side. I don't know whichever side this is coming up, but they look really cool. I've got the link to the person's TikTok in the description below if you want to check out more of them. I've only shown a few here. Moving on. Also, just quickly, if you guys have ever watched my content and been entertained or learned something new, be sure to subscribe. It only takes a second, and you can always change your mind later. So we all know the streamer's trip to Korea has been less than a smooth one. Within a couple of weeks, we had a pro player threaten detention, saying he was going to get all of the pro players banned, so the Korean community already wasn't really fond of the trip to Korea.
Wait, detention, you're banned too? Bro, the NAs are dropping like flies!
You know why?
Why?
You know why? Because this pro player in my game said, you are from NA, I'm making sure you get banned. Is what he said to me, and he was 1 in 14!
But then I saw this tweet from Dantes, and he thought that this person might have been talking about him in a positive light. He wrote this tweet in 3 languages just to make sure that he got his point across, in Japanese, Chinese, and Korean. Dantes then ran it through Google Translate. So this is kind of a struggle because there's obviously no punctuation, but it says, Dwayne dies of cancer. Filthy devil, I look forward to the day this art is diagnosed from hell. The shame of selling sweets and carrio signs Egyptian plague son of Baphomet. I left at the crossroads in his name a roast chicken with a tumor. You effing schizophrenic. So obviously Dantes fan number 1. Anyway, moving on. In one of my most recent videos, I touched on the Riot Games investigation into EG and their treatment of the ADC Danny. Since that video, there's actually been a little bit more clarity provided on Twitter by Arsh. I'm going to read out one of his tweets here. Arsh says, since people are curious, an LCS spokesperson confirmed to me that the EG Danny investigation is ongoing. Since Riot doesn't comment on ongoing investigations, that's all we know for now. Arsh also included under that tweet that he thinks that the EG CEO, Nicole LaPointe Jameson, deleting her Twitter and the Danny incident were linked, but that's all we know for now. In one of my most recent videos, I touched on how Riot Games was under fire because the new Immortal Journey Kayle skin looked too much like the Lunar Empress Ashe skin. The community was pretty vocal about this, rightly so after that, Riot went ahead and changed the icon and also the skin. I'll have both comparisons on the screen here, but this is the actual list of changes. They removed the red forehead mark, tweaking the hair shape, left side bangs higher, not exactly middle parted, changed her earrings. Yes, even the earrings were similar to Ashe's. This list of changes was compiled by Reddit user AobaSona. The link to the post will be in the description. Riot Games also hitting us with more changes, even though they're about 7 seasons too late. Let's read it out from Riot or Braun. We've got some surrender changes, hitting PBE going in from 13.16. Intention here is to make surrendering more of a team action rather than one person spamming FF every 3 minutes, along with other miscellaneous improvements. We plan on doing more of this type of systems work going forward. The tweet then includes a summary which says, the name of a player that started a surrender vote is no longer revealed, which I don't know if I agree with. After starting a surrender vote, the player that started the surrender vote will not be able to begin another vote for 6 minutes. That's actually really good because it prevents FF spamming. Note, the team cooldown for calling a surrender vote remains unchanged at 3 minutes and takes priority over individual cooldowns, so that means that surrenders can still be called every 3 minutes, just has to be by a different player. The surrender vote will automatically resolve when a vote can no longer pass and will no longer remain open waiting for players to vote. The surrender box text has been updated to reflect the type of surrender vote being called for: surrender, AFK surrender, or remake. So, good changes, right? Thanks for that. Only a few seasons late, but we got there in the end. And in other news, fellow Oceanian Midbeast has just hit Challenger in Korea after his 5th trip there. Check out the clip of him celebrating the animation.
Oh, baby. Here it comes. Here it comes. Challenger in Korea. I've done it. 2017, fail. 2018, fail. 2020, fail. 2022, fail. 2023, 5th time traveling intergalactically to Korea. Everybody told me, Drew, you're 40, give it up, you can't do it. Drew, go and see your ex-wife and your children, they miss you. No. 5th trip. The little man from Oceania with the largest goddamn neck on the server has done it. I've achieved Challenger rank, the highest rank in the world, in the best region in the world. It's been done.
So earlier in the week, I reached out to LS for some more clarification on the Korean streamer accounts. As we know, a lot were getting banned and then unbanned and then banned again, and we didn't know if they could continue streaming, but luckily enough, LS has some connections in high places and reached out to T1 CEO Joe Marsh. Obviously, Joe has some connections at Riot and was able to get their accounts reinstated full time so they can continue streaming for the next couple of weeks trying to hit rank 1. Unfortunately, a few players still had complications because their managers couldn't be reached or whatever, but a few got permanently unbanned, which is great. Now, as a Korean resident, I also had to ask LS on his opinion and if he had any more information on the Korean stabbing threats that were issued against Faker. This is what he had to say on stream.
Okay, so at 5:46 p.m. on Friday 11th, I get a message from Joe Marsh saying, yes, Faker got a death threat after the game. Now we are going with the cops. Alright, so anyways, so there's that. So after the game ended, apparently Faker ended up getting a death threat. Now, there are, and you can find this, you know, you go to like Our Korea, you search like Korea stabbings, Korea knife, whatever. It's like, it's messed up. There's a lot of stabbings, and there's a lot of knife-related, crimes going on right now in South Korea, very randomly. So these terror threats are like very, very scary. So that's what ended up happening. That's why there was a police car stationed outside of T1 HQ, is because someone threatened to kill Faker.
And lastly, Rank 1 EU West Agurin, who also got Rank 1 in Korea after only 2 weeks on the streamer's trip, has been hospitalized. In these tweets on screen, he says he got out of the shower and tried to clean his ear, but he got it stuck, and he couldn't fix it himself, and because he was in a foreign country, he couldn't actually receive medical attention either. To this, LS responded and said he'd take him to get medical attention if he needed translation, which is actually really helpful. It's pretty scary when you get involved in a medical situation overseas. You obviously don't know how the medical systems work there, and it can be pretty scary, also really expensive as well. So good guy LS for stepping in. But 16 hours ago, Agurin tweeted that it had all been resolved and he was back to streaming. Anyway, thanks so much for watching today's episode. If you enjoy this type of content, be sure to subscribe and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.